Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to League of DFS. We are in episode 6. If I'm not mistaken, we are headed into the group in stage of MSI, and this is the fantastic and fun time to watch, be both as a watcher, as a fan, and as someone who wants to play DFS. We have 6 teams that will face off each other in these next several days, and the slates are going to be crazy. It's going to start on Thursday. We have slates on it's slates on starts on Friday. We have slates on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all the way up to Tuesday before they decide who is going to the semifinals. So these are some crazy good teams from the best regions. We have the Korean League, we have the Chinese League, we have North America, we have Europe, we have Vietnam, and we have, where does EVOS represent? Evros is from Vietnam and Flash Wolves is from Taiwan. There we go. Now I got to it. So these are some of the best regions, and they've played in multiple international stages before, so this is not unfamiliar to them. And we will have an exciting time because they will meet again at Worlds. So this could be a little preview of what Worlds is about, but we get a little bit of sense of how they fare and what teams are the best teams are at the first half of the year. So going into tomorrow, the game starts at 4 a.m. So have your lineups in if you're already preparing to sleep, because I don't know if who of you would want to wake up right before the game locks. Several news I want to hit on. For Fanatics, I'm hearing conflicting information on the Euphoria. I hear that, on the Dive or LCAS Rundown podcast, I hear that SOAS is back, but on Kelsey Mosers making the rounds with Emily Rand, and this tweet I got late in the afternoon at Weepo is starting. It makes a difference for me because I am going to think about playing a Fnatic stack. So if I want to avoid that issue, I might not play the top, but I sense that it could give you an edge if you pick the right top to play, and I will go with Emily's advice because I trust her eyes and her ears more so. Speaking of which, go look at, if you haven't had the chance, I tweeted this out earlier, go look at the Making the Rounds under Kelsey Moser's YouTube page. They have very in-depth information, very analytical and very poignant information that can help you decide which teams are actually better at what, whether they are a macro team, whether they are individually good. And they're not mainstream. They're not like LOL Dive or Euphoria, where you get sort of the mainstream kind of information and mainstream covering a wide range of things. They are important still. So I would liken it as if you play fantasy football, the Dive and the Euphoria would be more like your CBS, your ESPN kind of podcast, giving you very general information. Everyone knows what's going on, but also help you keep up to date. Now, if you watch Kelsey's video, you'll get more in-depth analysis, better. It's better for fans who want to understand the pro scene and understand strategies. So go ahead, look at it. I'll post that in the description. The second resource, John George, my buddy 99 Problems DFS, has posted his new article on Action Network. Give it a look. I'll post this in my description as well. He'll tell you the betting odds and the DFS plays from his side. We have a lot of things in common on our thoughts, but also some differences so that we don't overlap too much. But overall, our process, I feel like his process is very sound. Someone that you might want to hit up if you want some advice for DFS as well. My view of this slate is that it'll be exciting, but also very difficult to pick the right combination due to both pricing and every single team is good. Every single team has a chance to beat each other. Now, with that said, the field will be heavier on Kingzone. Why is that? Kingzone has been the top. They won Worlds last year, and they look completely dominant even in their own region. And the Korean region has always been strong and will continue to look strong even in this spring split. They've trampled over their opponents. They've even used group plays during the season to test out new strategies. That's very bold. I don't see many teams are testing out different scenarios, testing out different strategies while they are playing for a spot. So that is how far along they are ahead of every single level of competition. With that said, you can expect Kingzone to be the most owned. Now there's an edge there, and we'll go and talk about that later on. What I think would be helpful if you don't want to be part of the field or be too close to the field in terms of percentage of owned players. Now, looking over this article here, which I will post on my descriptions as I mentioned, you can break down some of the stats that are useful. The stats that are useful for me are the kills per win. I use that as a guide to figure out where I can find the edge, which games might be high scoring, and which games might give me the punt player that I want to pick off from. If the team is average a lot of kills in a game, you might want to take a look and see how you can stack that team. If looking into this article, we already see that King Zone is not one of the higher scoring ones. Instead, we see Evos being at the top, RNG being at the top, and those teams make sense because they both play very fast and they are very heavily focused on team fighting and kills. Now, let's look at the slate. We have the salaries that are from top to bottom: King Zone, Royal Never Give Up, Flash Wolves, Evos, Fnatic, Team Liquid. Knowing that Evos is a very high-paced, go-for-the-kill, super aggressive type of team, they showed that in the last game, they will continue to use this type of method in this group stage, which will lead to either a lot of kills or a lot of deaths. So for my own cash process, I will be heavily focused more on Flash Wolves because I do think that they're the better team, that they can win, and that they're part of a high-kill game. So the cash will be various stacks with Flash Wolves, whether it's 3 Flash Wolves, 4 Flash Wolves, 5 Flash Wolves. Those are the kind of ideas that I'm looking into. Contrarian thinking, maybe Evos can win this game. And I don't know that there's the opinion, even by analytics, that Evos might win the game, but if for the small percentage reason that Evos could take a game, you can have a very, very, very good stack of Evos with King Zone, and then you have a safe team together with a high-paced team. That is the idea, what I'm thinking in terms of GPP. But for cash, for the high floor, I'm looking at Flash Wolves and I'm looking at King Zone to see how I can stack those, just to provide me with the safe floor. The thing that you want to think about as I'm talking about this is ignore all the FPPG. These scores do not reflect what's going to happen. They're just an aggregate score, and every region had their own different kind of format, making these scores very skewed towards one or the other. So ignore those for now. Then pay more closer attention to Vegas odds, betting odds, Bovada, esports betting, wherever maybe your resource is coming from. With that said, Royal Never Give Up is projected to win. Here's where I'm a little bit hesitant to just use them in this slate. If you want to use them as a contrarian play, that might be the way to go. I'm not there yet because Chinese teams tend to have a slow start to every international event. They also had the misfortune of being late into getting to MSI because of visa issues, and they said on Twitter that they did not have enough time to practice. Do I take that information and use it? I probably will. And if you are braver than I, if you are willing to take Royal Never Give Up because they are the betting favorite to win in this game, in this matchup, you might have an edge. Overall, though, I'm looking at King Zone, I'm looking at Flash Wolves, I'm looking at Fanatics. I probably not looking at Team Liquid because even if they win, I think that it'll be a low scoring kind of game. So this is where my build is going to look like: Hanabi, Peanut, BDD, Betty, Sword Art. If you want to be contrarian with King Zone, there are very different ways to go. You can either play their non-highest scoring players. You play their top, you play the jungle, or you play the support and team, and then figure out how to fill out the rest. Or you don't play King Zone at all, and that is completely contrarian. I guarantee you that you will have the ownership advantage if you don't play King Zone, which is really hard because they are the best teams. I think they'll win. Your your gamble here is if you don't play King Zone, you're betting on that the other teams, whether it's Royal Never Give Up, whether it's Flash Wolves, whether it's Fanatics, whether it's Evos, that they will have a combined higher scoring game, higher paced game. And that's how, that's the only reason why you would fade King Zone. If you don't have that balls of steel, lack of a better word, go with King Zone. You'll be safe. 3 King Zone, 4 King Zone, whatever it is to make it happen. Now, a tip in building your stacks, and I'll post this article. This is another article by John. He posted it much earlier, the biggest mistakes. Here he'll tell you that if you mix different teams, if you mix 3 teams, you're really lowering your chances of actually winning much. There's a small chance that you might be right, but oftentimes you just created way more variables and way more harder for yourself to cash in those GPPs, where cash in those just GPP games or take down a GPP, because you are depending on 3 different teams instead of 2 different teams to give you the majority of your score. So I would tend to advise people not to mix too many teams into their lineup. Now, in this sense, when I'm making the Flash Wolves and King Zone kind of lineup, I do have to end up with 1 punt, but I'm not relying on that punt to bring me the points. You see the difference there? If I'm mixing the team and I'm relying on 3 different teams to be to total the score for me, I'm really placing myself at a lower odds of hitting cash or even taking down the GPP. So my advice for those who are subscribed to my channel, my advice is to stack 2 teams as much as you can. If you need a punt, go ahead, find something that'll work for you. My advice for a best of 1 series is I'll typically punt on the team position, because teams are a lower scoring already, and you want to maximize points by playing enough players in your flex. If you can get 3 carries, meaning 3 a mid, an 80 carry, another mid, or a mid, an 80 carry, another 80 carry, I think that's a strong high floor type of play, and that's where I'll be hoping to go. I don't think it's possible with Flash Wolf and King Zone, but it was possible with King Zone and Evos. Perhaps it's possible with Flash Wolves and Fanatics. I haven't tried that yet. That might be something that you might think about doing. So that's for match 1. The second slate, let's look at here. The second slate that's out there, as you can see, some of my builds that are already made. This is not my final lineup, but this is where I'm thinking of going if I'm going for a high safe game. I think Fnatic will win. I think King Zone will win. I'm sorry, the matchups are Flash Wolves against Fnatic, Team Liquid versus Evos, Royal Never Give Up against King Zone. This is where I think that Fanatics will have a good chance of winning against Flash Wolves. I think Team Liquid will win. That might be a game you might think about playing, because again, Evos will be high scoring, will be super aggressive, and Team Liquid can take chances and route them, earning themselves enough kills. King Zone is actually not the most expensive one in this slate, so there is a good chance that that's why I have a lot of King Zone in my lineup. So take it for what you will. This is not my final build, as I mentioned, but from the looks of it, I can get 3 carries with King Zone and Fanatics. This looks decent. This looks like a very solid idea, and I will continue to work on this after the video. But I think if given a chance, I think I will go into this direction, or I will substitute Team Liquid instead of King Zone to make it work. So that's my video. I will be posting all the resources again. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it gives you an idea how to build your lineup and get ready for tomorrow. I'll be back trying to break down Saturday and Sunday in one video, and then Monday and Tuesday on another video. Any questions you might have, please feel free to hit me up. I also want to take this time to thank all the new subscribers. Tomcats Jones, I see you. You are one of the better players out there, I know, because we always see you at the top or with me in cash out there. I also want to acknowledge some other ones that I see here. Subscriber Thomas Perry, Timothy Feature. These are new subscribers to my channel. Thank you. let anyone know who might want to enjoy League of Legends DFS about this channel and tell me how I can improve on it. All of these videos is just a preparation for the summer split, and I'm excited. There are things that I'm working on that hopefully will help us develop a solid process and help us for the summer split when it comes to LCS. Have a good night and have a good slate.